Let's dive into one of Shakespeare's most intense and heartbreaking plays, Othello. Now, on the surface, you might think it's a straightforward story, a great general, a deep love, and a tragic downfall caused by jealousy. But as we're about to see, the truth is so much darker and a whole lot more complicated than that. We're actually going to start at the very end with these haunting words from Othello himself. He says this just moments after he's murdered his wife, Desdemona. He claims he's someone who loved not wisely, but too well. How can you say that? How can love lead to murder? That contradiction, that impossible idea, is really the key to the whole tragedy. And that's the big question we're going to tackle, isn't it? How does a man who is seen as a hero, a noble leader, completely unravel and kill the person he loves most? This isn't just a simple drama, it's a deep dive psychological mystery. So let's get into it and piece together how everything went so terribly wrong. To really understand the fall, you have to go back to the beginning. And the play kicks off not with a quiet romance, but with total chaos. It's all about a love that basically spits in the face of every social rule in Venice. Othello and Desdemona getting married isn't just a personal choice, it's a public act of rebellion. Yeah, this really lays it all out. On one side, you have Othello. He's a celebrated general, sure, but he's also a complete outsider in this society. And on the other side, Desdemona. She's the ultimate insider, a Venetian lady from a powerful family. Them eloping? That's a huge deal. It's a direct challenge to the way their world works, and it makes them incredibly vulnerable right from the get-go. And the problems start immediately. Right away. Desdemona stands up to her own father in public, choosing Othello. And what does her dad do? He turns to Othello and drops this little seed of poison. She has deceived her father, and may thee. That one line is just dripping with foreshadowing for the manipulation that's about to come. Speaking of manipulation, let's meet the master manipulator himself, Iago. He's supposed to be Othello's trusted right-hand man, but he is the engine driving this entire tragedy. His reason, or his excuse anyway, he claims he's mad because Othello promoted another soldier, Cassio, over him. But believe me, his hatred goes much, much deeper than a missed promotion. Iago basically tells us his entire game plan in the first act. He says straight up, "I am not what I am." That's his mission statement. To the rest of the world, he's honest Iago, the guy you can trust. But to us, the audience, he shows his true face, a chillingly effective master of psychological warfare. So, how does he pull it off? Well, his method is terrifyingly simple. You can break it down into 4 steps. First, you isolate your target. Get Othello away from his friends and allies. Second, you plant seeds of suspicion, just little whispers about his wife and his lieutenant. Third, you provide some proof. Something that looks undeniable, even if it's a complete lie. And then, the final step, you just step back and let jealousy do the rest of the work for you. And here's what makes Iago's plan so uniquely evil. He decides to weaponize Desdemona's best quality, her goodness. He knows she's a kind person, so she'll try to help Cassio get his job back. Iago then takes that kindness, her own virtue, and twists it until it looks like evidence of an affair. He builds a trap that she can't escape precisely because she's a good person. It's diabolical. Now, this is so important to understand. Iago isn't just creating this hatred out of thin air. He's more like an arsonist. He's not making the fuel, he's just finding all the prejudice and insecurity that's already soaked into the society around him, and then he strikes the match. And at the very heart of Othello's vulnerability is this idea of othering. Even though he has this high-status job, he's constantly reminded that he's different. He's always the more. That feeling of being an outsider, no matter what he achieves, creates a deep insecurity. It makes him tragically vulnerable to the idea that, of course, his beautiful Venetian wife would eventually leave him for someone of her own kind. So Iago's real weapons aren't swords, they're prejudices. He taps into the casual racism of the day that always reduces Othello to a label. He plays on the rampant misogyny that assumes all women are untrustworthy. And the whole scheme works because this kind of talk is just normal. Nobody challenges it. Even good people just stand by passively, and that silence allows Iago's poison to spread like wildfire. Okay, so all the pieces are now on the board. And once Iago sets his plan in motion, Othello's fall from being a confident, respected leader to a man completely consumed by rage and jealousy is just terrifyingly quick. And what's the one thing that pushes him over the edge? It's almost absurd. It's a single, small object, a handkerchief. It was Othello's very first gift to Desdemona, a symbol of his love. But in Iago's hands, this beautiful symbol gets twisted into what Othello calls ocular proof, hard evidence of her betrayal. It's what seals her fate. And just look at this timeline. It shows you how fast the poison works. In Act 3, Iago just plants the idea. By Act 4, Othello is so far gone that he strikes his wife in public. A shocking, unbelievable moment for a man famous for his self-control. And by Act 5, the transformation is complete. The noble general is a murderer. The terrible irony is that almost as soon as Othello murders Desdemona, the truth starts to come out. But it's too late. The destruction Iago caused is absolute, and it leaves behind this powerful, timeless warning that still resonates hundreds of years later. The ending dishes out a really brutal form of justice. Desdemona is proven innocent, but she's already dead. Iago's own wife, Emilia, gets killed by him for daring to expose his lies. Iago himself is captured, but he vows to never speak again, giving us no easy answers. And Othello, faced with the unbearable guilt of what he's done, takes his own life. The chaos ends, but the cost is just staggering. So, when you boil it all down, Othello is a massive cautionary tale. It's a story that shows us how easily prejudice, when it's twisted by lies and made worse by a total breakdown in communication, can absolutely destroy lives, love, everything, and with horrifying speed. And that really leaves us with one last lingering question. Iago was able to weave his web of destruction because the threads, the racism, the misogyny, were already there in his culture. So it forces us to ask ourselves, what prejudices, what systems of othering exist in our world right now, just waiting for a manipulator to come along and pull at the threads?